Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the DDT Podcast, Episode 5. We've already had 4 stellar guests so far, from a upcoming talent in Universe Mode, Austin Zero, to a guy that has trekked a long, storied career through the creator wrestler community like Gex, or a guy who's kind of been an outlier and done his own thing like Bundy, or a veteran of my own Universe Mode who's somehow managed to turn the virtual reality into reality and step into the 20 feet by 20 feet like Colt Lee. But episode 5, I have a very special guest to me. I know that each one of these people I've known personally in some form or fashion for X period of time, but this person, similar to Colt, has had a close connection with me in terms of being able to tell stories and having a strong attention to detail. Not only did he give me one character to work with in Universe Mode, he gave me 2. He entrusted me with 2, and I am forever grateful for not just his hard work and dedication to make his characters meaningful in my own series, but also who he worked with to help elevate everybody else around him. He is an incredible person. Behind the scenes, a good heart, strong mind for the wrestling business in terms of what is important, in my opinion, which is the story. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to give a warm welcome to a man who has, in my own Universe Mode, been a 4-time Universal Champion, a 2-time NXT Champion as well, 6 title reigns, and he's accumulated a long-standing list of accolades in terms of being the longest reigning Universal Champion in the series at 70 episodes, actually longest World Champion of all time in my entire series at 70 episodes with the 4 world title reigns. Couple that with the 2 NXT title reigns, he's sitting at about 88 episodes as a champion, higher than Colt Lee. He's in the top 20 all-time list. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to give a warm welcome to Scott Cole and the creative mind behind him, as well as Johnny Rivers. Welcome to the podcast, man. It's great to have you.
Thank you, bro. It's great to be here.
Man, you had a crazy... I mean, I pretty much just texted you, hey, have you watched this? No? Well, do you want to be on it? Yeah? Let's do it. Okay. So, I'm grateful you just said, yeah, we haven't talked in forever. Let's just go on a podcast.
Of course, dude. I was so surprised when you asked me that, but I was like, why not? Dude, okay. So, I stopped watching a lot of wrestling as I got older, right? I used to watch it all the time, dude. Like what people say is the golden age is like the Attitude Era, and then you had the early 2000s to 2012, like how crazy it was during that time. I was all over it, and I stopped watching it because I wasn't really invested in the storylines anymore. Either that or I didn't understand them. So, I stopped watching wrestling, but I still had a really big love for wrestling, and I would play the games all the time with my friends and the competitive leagues and stuff. And then we met you, and I saw how, like, you brought an amazing, like, kind of mind-boggling story to it. It keeps your attention, it keeps you sitting there, even though the episode is so long sometimes, but you just stuck, Like, dog, you really helped me out as far as like not losing my love for wrestling, because like you said earlier, the story is all about, I mean, the wrestling is mostly about the story. Of course, anybody can go around do Hurricane Ranas, DDTs, RKOs, but if there's no lead up, if there's nothing to keep you invested, it doesn't really go over well. It's just like, well, I don't know why this is happening. It's kind of boring, But I never felt like that with your videos ever. And of course, my favorite ones was the one I was in. I would watch the entire episode if I knew I was there. But I was young. I'm not gonna lie. I was young. I was feeling myself. Like, I gonna lie.
Well, good to know that you had a bit of an ego with you, and also thank you for the kind words. I'm always humbled, and even though I don't think I'm absolutely stellar or a master of writing at all, I'm always grateful when people are very very generous with their compliments towards me, especially with the fact that you, like Colt, like Austin Zero, like Bundy as well, and trust me with characters. And it's difficult to try and ensure that everyone's happy or that we can maximize stories with everyone. In some regards, I feel like I do a great job with some characters, case in point, Scott Cole. Other times, I feel like I let other characters down, like Johnny Rivers. But still find a way to do something with them like I am in season 10 and 9, like I was doing with him. So, thank you. But as far as you go, you mentioned the storytelling. I feel like with your character, I feel like yours behind the scenes in writing was probably the most intricate and thought out character, from the mask of Scott Cole to the why he's this demonic kind of character, to who's the man behind it, a redemption story, his motivations, the Bullet Club storyline, your Money in the Bank briefcase run.
Dude.
Even being out of the mask, okay, where do we take the character from here? How do we continue after he's completed his character arc? To where he is now, which, oh my gosh, the character has gone through so much evolution and just never stopped. Whether we were talking about where we were going to take the direction of the character or not, I always felt like you were very humble in terms of you were willing to roll tide with whatever outcome I wanted to present to you, but you were always, at least to me, you always had the mentality of, well, how can this storyline impact other people? How can I help other people with my storyline? How can this character help elevate other people? At least that was my impression.
Yeah. No, dude, it's like at the end of the day, I might have my own like ego with my character and what I think he should be doing, but at the end of the day, it was your universe. You understood and remembered every single detail leading up to certain points. The stuff that I didn't even know what was going on, you know? I just knew what was going on with my character and my character only for a little bit, you know? So I wasn't going to question you because like I said before I was even in it, you know, I was watching your videos and I love the storytelling. So I wasn't going to question your storytelling ability, but willing to contribute to it, you know? Because it's not like losing one match or losing your championship means that your character's just going to get buried. Like, no, a lot of greats have gone through turmoil as far as like title reigns, like John Cena, Stone Cold, The Undertaker, you know, like I was always worried about like, all right, well, what's the next thing then? How would Scott Cole react? What would he do? Would he lash out? Would he play it calm? Or would he do something that nobody's going to expect? You know? So I was always trying to think outside the box, not just kind of you know, just something expected, really.
Well, we're definitely going to get into the character of Scott Cole because you want to do something different than anybody else, and I'll tee it up now for you, even though I know we were talking about it right beforehand. We'll definitely get into the character before we do what you requested, but
Sure.
just because I feel like background context is important for what we're gonna show. But I'll backtrack. I'll wind it all the way back. I'll hit you with the question that I typically ask everyone so far. What moment, if you can recall, kind of brought you into wrestling, or what character kind of hooked you into wrestling, and why?
Oh my god. Okay. This
As
is
long
gonna
as
be
it's
so
appropriate.
stereotypical.
Right when I
It's
heard that
gonna be
laugh.
no. It's gonna be so stereotypical. But dude, okay. So I remember like it was yesterday, right? Um, I begged my mom to let me go with my brother to his best friend's house because he had everything. He had the snacks, dude. He had the Xbox, the early day PCs where people were mostly playing Wizard 101 and Old Republic. Um, he just had everything. His house, he had everything. So I begged to go over there, and she let me. And when we got there, he was like, "Yo, yo, yo, you guys are gonna miss it. Come on, it's already started." And I'm like, what? What's he talking about? I'm not even supposed to be here. I'm here by force. So we run to his room, and he has wrestling on Raw to be specific. And dude, when I heard John Cena's theme song for the first time, like the OG, like the 2006 one, dog, I was locked in. I'm not gonna lie. Dude, I was a John Cena fan for years after that. Like, we would watch it all the time, every time. Like, this is cable. This is cable. We're on a timetable. We're staying up late, sneaking in the living room to watch wrestling, bro. Because my mom ain't like it all the way, but that's besides the point. Um, yeah, dude. Like, then me and my brother, oh, dude, it's like the fondest memories, dog. Like me and my brother, we would obviously try it at home, even though they say don't try it at home. But I was always John Cena, and he was always Randy Orton. And this is like the old Randy Orton too, like the prime age of John Cena and Randy's feud. Well, that's debatable, but this was Legend Killer. This was Legend Killer. This is the prodigal son, Randy Orton time. And yeah, dude, we would wrestle. And I don't know. We got the championship, the one that spins. Dog, I'm sorry, I'm going on a tangent.
You're
But
fine.
but yeah, I first discovered it through my brother's best friend one night where I forced my way to their house. And I was hooked ever since then, dude. I've been loving wrestling for years.
So you mentioned though that you had shifted away from it. Is that just because you got older, or you just got busy with life, or is it just you might have already said it. Was it just the wrestling storylines that primarily pushed you out?
It was I think I think I was now that I think about it, like in hindsight, I think I was just upset that all the uh all the guys that I grew up watching, and keep in mind, I'm not even that old at this point in time. I'm like 13, 14 maybe. Um I was like, dog, like I don't know who these new guys are, and they're pushing them hard, and the storylines are not really hitting for me. Like, this was when, the real Bullet Club was starting to come out, you know? And I
Hmm.
was like, yeah, I don't really know these guys. I mean, pushing them. Where's Undertaker? Where's Edge? Where's John Morrison? Where's all these guys? And, these characters bro, the Boogeyman. Like, I was like, yeah, these guys aren't hitting for me like those other characters did. And I just kind of fell out with it because there was that, and then the storylines just didn't really get me engaged really. But I see online like I've grown a new love for it. Now that I'm older and I don't have that mindset. Um Going back and watching like Roman Reigns in this NXT era with the Bullet Club and Dean Ambrose, and you know, it was good. It was good. It's just that I was like, man, I never, at that point in time in my life, I never really understood how the business side of wrestling works. How people have to get their time in the light basically, and they have to try things, and they might not always, you know, be the best moves, but they make them just to, not be the same old show every time. But I didn't want that. I wanted the same old show every time. I wanted John Cena on that card. I wanted Edge doing something stupid. I wanted The Miz talking his bullcrap like he usually do. I wanted all of that. Chris Jericho, what? Come on, dog. Like at that point in time, nothing was topping that era for me. So I kind of fell out with it.
I mean, that's fair. I definitely had that kind of phase as well. But so how did that translate into creating Scott Cole slash your kind of first characters, and then how did it translate into meeting May?
Hmm. Okay. So, um, Scott Cole came from me being the underdog in my competitive league. Like before I even created a character, I would play with my friends and everything, and I would get my butt whooped every time. Every time. There was no shot I was gonna win. Like if I somehow survive at the end of the fatal four way or whatever, dog, I was gonna get pinned immediately. Right? So I was like, okay, I'm gonna take time. I'm gonna learn this game and I'm gonna kick everybody's ass. Nobody is going to be able to touch me. So I created Scott Cole, and it came from, like I said before, an underdog place. So I was like, well, these guys have storylines for their characters, right? So I gotta have one for mine, but I'm gonna base it off what I'm going through currently. Everything that I kind of put Scott Cole through is what I was going through at a certain point in time in my life. So at that point, it was the underdog, it was the come up. So at first, Scott Cole didn't have a mask. At first, he just wore a hoodie that hid most of his face, and um, he was still he was still missing a lot. And it's not like I didn't feel it. Like I knew he was missing a lot, but at that point in time, I was just trying to get in the ring, sharpen up on my skills. So the more um the more I played with Scott Cole in the competitive leagues for the 2K games, the more determined I kept getting to uh to kind of develop him more as far as my own growth in the video game. So at a certain point in time, dude, I felt like I finally did it. My friends can't touch me. So we gotta evolve. We gotta get a little ballsy per se, you know? Kind of a showboat. Give off that aura that I'm not I'm not the friend that gets beat up on all the time now. So that's where the bulletproof vest, the tattoos, the mask, all the way down to the little boogeyman thing that I have around his waist. Like it was more of a, you know, I don't gotta go bare bones. I don't gotta look plain anymore. It's not about purely for the grind anymore. It's for the love of it. And I love kicking people's ass. And I damn sure look good doing it in that outfit. Oh man, I love his aesthetic so much. I do.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. So then, if I don't know if you can recall, how did we meet?
We met by so you remember Assassin, right?
I do from XCW.
Yeah, yeah. So we met through him because he thought that your universe mode was a competitive league.
Yep.
You remember that?
I do. I do. He initially thought that, and that's why he approached me.
Yeah, and he was telling me about it. He was like, "Yeah, man, this guy has a league, and um, he he gets like a lot of views on it, and the storylines are actually pretty good." I'm like, "Oh, really?" So let's go meet him because I was co-owner at the time. I guess technically still am, but
Shoot, I don't know if they're still. Are they still up and running?
no, because they wouldn't listen to my ideas. But that's part.
Whoa,
That's part.
whoa.
No, no, man, I got beef. I got beef because I put so much work into that channel, and then we rebranded with my ideas, and it was going so well, and then they just wanted to be difficult.
I think they. I think if I remember correctly, I think it was Raymond Cruz blocked me from the
Yeah,
channel.
yeah, he was the most difficult one. Oh man, but
Wow.
yeah, we met through the assassin, because he thought, and he kept he kept saying that you had a league, and it was getting on your nerves. You're like, I have a universe mode. I don't have a league. I don't I don't have a competitive league. I have a universe mode, and you just kept having to tell him that over and over and over again. Oh man, that was hilarious. But around that time is when I actually would talk to you privately, and we would talk about like the universe mode, and you would tell me about Class Par, his run, Matt King's run, and basically just going over the story so far. Um, and I was like, oh, that sounds pretty cool actually. And I didn't want to ask you if I could be a part of it because I was like, it's gonna sound typical. I'm pretty sure he gets that all the time, right? So, I don't know. I don't remember exactly how Scott Cole ended up getting there, but I presume I asked anyway because if I think something, more than likely I'm going to do it eventually. Even if I stop myself in that moment, I'm gonna do it eventually.
Well, either way, we had those conversations, and I know there was certain issues with certain people for different reasons,
Mm-hmm.
but pretty much everyone agreed to come over and lend me their characters, from Braden McLaughlin to Raymond Cruz to Assassin to MK to Jeff Sanders to you as well. Pretty much everyone was on board with lending me their characters, which to this day I'm still insanely grateful for. Um, that was a heck of a cast because everyone had made their own character. I think that was the first one where it's just everyone had their own character, and they just gave it to me. I think that was the first
Really?
wave of guys. I think I'd have to look it up because I have like this order list of how everyone joined. But
Mm.
I still have it. And I keep it up to date. But yeah, we met, we were talking, and one thing led to another. I think if I say this, you'll really remember it. I think the hook, line, and sinker was that I had just wrapped up WrestleMania season 3 when we were having these conversations, and I told you if you're gonna figure out or if you want to know kind of what sums up my universe mode in one match, I gave you some background context and I said, you got to watch this match. I'm not going to tell you who wins. You got to find out yourself. That match was Harvey versus Mr. Samuel, and if Mr. Samuel lost, his career is over.
Oh.
I think that is the match because you watched it, and then you said, I want to fight him. I want in.
Oh, yeah. I was so upset.
And you didn't even, that was literally, I think, your first match you ever watched, and you were just like, I want to fight this guy. How do I join? How do I fight this guy?
I hated Harvey's guts ever since I seen that match. I don't care. I don't care what happened, what he tried to do. I wanted that fight.
And then he took the title from Ross Young too the same night.
Oh gosh, dude.
And then you were on NXT cutting a promo. Boom. Off the races.
That guy got under my skin so bad. Holy crap. Yeah, okay. I saw where that was going. When you mentioned Harvey, I was like, wait, I think I remember now. Yeah, no, I don't like that guy.
Well, I remember we were I think you were very adamant about wanting to fight him, and I was like, no one's going to know who you are. We need to put you through NXT. And you wanted to cut a promo, and you called out Harvey. And I can't remember the whole back and forth. I guarantee you, if British Ambition watches this, he'll probably have more recollection of what his reaction was. But I remember him just basically being like, nah, whatever, I'm doing my own thing. That's cool though that he called me out. I mean, but then we took your character a route in season 4, and we built you up. At the same time, Jamie and Blake Daniels were feuding. And then you jumped in as this dominant powerhouse, took the NXT title. You traded back and forth with Blake. I can't remember the third guy was in the match.
Blake was a good fucking fighter. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, funny enough,
So
he is Universal Champion right now, and Jamie's Intercontinental Champion. So
yeah, those two. I'm not gonna lie, dude. I think there was one time. I think it was one time where I had a dominating match against Jamie. One time. But like after that, dude, the kid was whooping my ass. He was whooping the shit out of me. He was putting up a fight. He never went down like that again. I can't remember if it was Jamie or Blake, but it was one time I had just like absolute domination the whole match. And then after that, yo,
you know what's even crazier about your entire career in that NXT run is that within one season after you debuted, you were already a 2-time NXT champion. And do you remember who you fought in the final NXT takeover of season 4? I'm hitting you with some great trivia questions.
Was it Blake?
No. Well, maybe. But I do know who you fought at TakeOver to kick off the show.
No, I don't remember.
Mr. Samuel.
No?
Yes?
No, wait, I remember that. Oh.
Because you feuded with the GM, and he was the new GM, and you two fought in a one-off match, and it was epic.
You know, okay, look, in hindsight, I feel bad. But in the moment, it's pissing me off. It's pissing me off.
I think it was because he wasn't giving you a rematch or something. I'd have to look back and see what the feud was. But I remember it was building, and I think you were disrespecting him in some way during the feud with Blake Daniels because the title hadn't changed. It was like a one change. So if you won the title, you weren't winning it back. In this case, Blake won the title. You took it from him. He took it back from you, and then you took it from him. And then I believe you lost it to Prince. Nope, that's what it was. You fought Mr. Samuel, and then you fought Prince Metallico, and you beat Prince Metallico. And everyone thought you were dropping the belt. And the reason why, I think I talked to you about it, the reason why I had you keep it is because you guaranteed to me that you were going to buy 2K19 to remake Scott Cole off the get-go, and I had no confirmation from Prince. So because of that, I didn't know if I was going to get the green light again to remake him. So I kept the title on you, I think, for one more pay-per-view before you dropped it.
Okay. Dude, this was so freaking long ago.
It is long ago.
Holy crap.
And I feel like you're just dumbfounded that I'm a little dumbfounded that I'm being able to, or so good at recalling all this.
Yeah.
Let me think. It was
Dude, I was like a freshman in high school.
so
22.
I think I remember who you lost to. Are you ready for this? You lost it to Lars Sullivan.
What?
Yep.
Wait. I'm trying to see if I remember him.
So Daniels won the title. He held it for 9 episodes. You beat him. You held it for 9. He beat you. He held it for 9. You held it for 19. And you went into season 5 and you dropped it to Sullivan. Sullivan dropped it to Max Webb. Max Webb dropped it to Adam Cole. Cole dropped it to Black. Black dropped it to Dream.
Let's not sleep on Aleister Black, bro. Aleister Black was going crazy.
Dream dropped it to Ono. Ono dropped it to Bate. Bate dropped it to Sante Guerrero. And then Sante dropped it to McLaughlin, who then dropped it to Jack McKay. And then it got vacated. And then
I didn't like that guy either.
Jackson Wolf won it. He dropped it to Harper. Then EC3, Ace, Bruce Bennett, Cole Quinn, Ryan Trapp, Isaac Steele, Ryan Trapp, Chris Hall, Mac Allen, Isaac Steele. No, not Isaac Steele, Chris Hall, who then just dropped it to Arthur Rex. I pretty much just named almost every single NXT title reign.
Jesus.
I am a freaking nerd of my own show.
Yeah, statistics and everything.
Listen, man, don't even get me started with you. You are technically, or you're the second longest reigning NXT champion of all time. I believe I'd have to update it. I'd have to update it, man.
You gotta teach me how to use this. This is so organized.
Are you looking at this?
Yes.
Oh, shoot. That's right. I have my screen shared to you because I just pulled up all my stats. Scott Cole. Where do I find Scott Cole? Brandon McLaughlin. No, you came in sooner. You were higher on the list. There you are. You're 14th all time. You're at 98 episodes as a champion. And you've only held 2 titles ever.
Wow.
6 championship title reigns, an average of 16.33 episodes per title reign, 98 episodes, and you're 14th all time on the list.
Hey man, when Scott Cole's determined, he gets the job done.
Hey, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But enough of the statistics. So you had all these runs, and you were sitting in these meetings with me. We were coming up with all these storyline ideas, but ultimately, the big character idea that we had for you was that the mask is basically this supernatural kind of tool against you. It's like a prison. So you basically were struggling as a wrestler, and you made a deal with the devil. Not literally the devil, but I think what we revealed is that Paul Bearer was the entity, which I think is actually kind of cool. Paul Bearer from Beyond the Grave, which I know is a little bit of a stretch for reality, but I like how we presented it in a way that's like, we're not trying to literally shatter everything, because Kane wore a mask, Undertaker wore a mask, Samuel Armstrong, I think we wrote, had the same thing, which is a whole cool plot twist, by the way. So Armstrong was the guy that tore up Matt King's knee and limited his career.
Dude, can I tell you something?
Yeah, what's that?
All right, I wanna stay I want to say this right now. The gas mask is my thing, bro. All right, it's not Dean Ambrose. It was Scott Cole first. It was me. It was my thing.
Oh, so for
He
people that
stole it from
so
me.
people that don't know, like we're in the height of the Scott Cole gimmick, and Dean Ambrose at the time, who's now John Moxley in AEW. Dean Ambrose does this whole gimmick with a gas mask, and I remember sending you a picture of it, and you were so heated because you're like, "That's my thing. That's
I want my
bullcrap."
commission. I want my royalties.
And on top of that, we did it way cooler.
Exactly.
Like our whole storyline was that the mask was imbued with this spirit. So effectively, you get enhanced speed, enhanced strength, enhanced agility, enhanced endurance, and a very successful wrestling career. But you're plagued to basically wear the mask whenever you're in the ring, and whenever you take it off, you're basically tormented by souls.
Mm-hmm.
So the only way to get out of the contract or to complete the contract is that you have to fight a wrestler. This is crazy, I know, but in storyline, this was so cool. To free you of this curse, you had to fight a wrestler in the ring. So what we wrote in storyline was that Scott Cole, to be free of this curse, had to fight Harvey. And the crazy thing is Harvey was already retired. But
I hated that.
But we only revealed this plot point because Harvey had approached me, I think in season 7, and was like, "Hey, I really want to come back. I really want to do something. I really want to help elevate somebody. Can I come back and have a title run? I want to hold a championship, and I want to put over somebody." So this is kind of how the conversation went. Me knowing that, I know I'm over here doing the storytelling, but I also don't know what all you remember. So stop me if you've heard this before.
No, it's okay.
So the conversation kind of went with, okay, I have in the back of my mind why a certain somebody joined the series in the first place, and I'm thinking, oh, well, this is a prime opportunity. This is freaking gold. We finally get to do this.
Right.
So I told Harvey, listen, I will let you have a title reign, but you have to do me a favor. You have to lose, or you have to face somebody at WrestleMania, and it's got to be an opponent of my choice. You'll have the title reign. You get to choose who you lose it to, but you have to drop the title before WrestleMania season, and you have to feud with this person, and you have to fight them at WrestleMania, and I get to choose how the match goes. And from there, it was negotiating, okay, how long of a title reign does he get to have? What does he do in the story? But ultimately, I pretty much had 90% of the reigns for Harvey's character from the time he lost the title at the Rumble to WrestleMania to fight you.
Mm.
And I remember I went to you after I had Harvey agree to it. I think this is how it went. I had him agree to everything. I then go to you, and I'm like, hey, by the way, I got Harvey to agree to this whole thing. What do you think? I think that's how it went, right?
Yeah.
And what was your reaction?
Dude, I was excited. I was so gassed, bro. I was.
Well, I think you couldn't believe it at first. I think that's what it was. You were just like, are we being for real?
Yeah, I was like, dude, I thought it was over. Because when you told me that he retired, I was like, well, there goes that. But we're doing good, so I guess it's whatever. I was disappointed, but I was like, you know, it's whatever. You know, I like where we're going with Scott Cole. We're gonna do it without that. You know, it'll just be a what if. You know, but when you came to me with that, dude, the amount of possibilities that was going off in my head is what made me speechless. I was like, yo, this is what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do, man?
Well, that's where you conjured. We pieced together the whole. Okay, how much lore can we give this? And then, again, it was like, well, how can we expand this? Because I think we weaved Armstrong into it somehow, and then it was just added lore. So like Armstrong was a previous user
Oh.
of that, and he jacked up Matt King's leg, and that's how Matt King, and he revealed that simultaneously as your plot points progressing with Harvey, I believe. So like Harvey was still dealing with his title reign. Meanwhile, you and Armstrong, I think, are having a discussion, and it gets revealed about Matt King's leg, and I'm feuding with Claspar at the same time.
You want to know
There are
the
so many
backstory?
freaking interesting parts in this season 7 story, dude. It makes me want to rewatch.
Oh, for sure, dude. I want to tell you something about the whole no mask thing, right? So you know how I told you it all Scott Cole usually always reflects what I was going on in my private life.
Yeah.
So at the time, XCW, I was still making Scott Cole, but I was making him without the mask. And I was making him without the mask because it's like at that point in time, it's like that analogy, like the taking off of the mask and revealing the man type of thing. Like honestly, as an adolescent, a lot of the consequences of your actions don't really affect you because you're adolescent, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But um it was this one day I was being bullied by this kid at school. I think this was like sophomore year high school. And we fought, and bro, me and this dude jacked each other up, right? I broke his nose, swelled his eye, he swelled my eye. Like we jacked each other up. And I almost went to juvie for that, but I felt I felt so what's the word? I felt so I felt bad. Not that I protected myself, but the fact that I reacted in such a way to where I had to put my family through the possibility of me being locked up, you know. Um and it was it was like a whole new season in my life for me in a way. Like I wanted to uh I wanted to be more aware of my actions, my impulses, and dishing out dirty laundry, old traumas that kind of led me to be who I was at that point in time. So, as I was getting a new game, and I'm like, oh, I need to make a new attire for Mad, I it's just like I would make the attire and I would love it, but then I would always put the mask on last. I don't know why. I just would. Just to kind of see what kind of extra stuff I can put on his face with the mask on, which came the piercings and then later on stuff. But yeah. So every time I put the mask on, it didn't really feel right anymore. It felt too much, and I guess it kind of reflected my own evolution as a person. To not be so reckless, and just having a mask on my face just didn't feel right anymore. Not without um, solving some issues. Because if I just put the mask back on, I'll be the same person, you know.
Right.
So that's where that came from. It was kind of a it's kind of a deep backstory, but it's true, man. That was my art. That was my love. That was my work at the time. So that's it's all I really had to express myself.
Damn. Well, either way, I think what's incredible is just how the character translated and how it hooked a lot of people in. and the stories that were told with the character, even what's going on now in season 10. I love the intricate connections because that thread kind of tied so many characters together, just narratively, and it had such a ripple effect. And it was intricate, and I feel like we didn't lose anybody when we were doing that storyline, and it was crazy because I think that kind of flipped you into a face in story.
Yeah, that was a surprise.
Right, and then it kind of turned into, well, where do we go from here?
But
And
in hindsight, it makes sense, right? Because in my personal life, I was trying to be more aware, a better person, and then we introduced that storyline to Universe mode, and people started seeing me as a better person and different, but the same in a way. They still knew who Scott Cole was and what he was about and how he'd act, but it was something about his character and the way he carried himself after a certain point in time to where you're like, he's not a heel. He's a pretty okay guy, actually. He started to talk more.
well,
You know, everything, you know, it was just different. His energy was different, but he was still the same guy at the end of the day. He still had his goals, you know, and whatever he had to step on to get there, he would. But he did it in a different way. It just felt different.
Well, speaking of that, you had a question you wanted to ask me.
Yes.
Did you want to ask that now after I teed up a lot of it?
Oh, of course. I wanted to go over 3 of your favorite Scott Cole or Johnny Rivers matches, and we can talk about it. You know, I want to know.
So as far as Johnny Rivers matches go, that's a little bit tougher because those aren't as standout. But I feel like a lot of his best work has been this past season as Cruiserweight Champion for the past 51 episodes, I think we're at. Yeah, I think we're at 51 into his title reign. But I think his match with Finn Balor at No Mercy Season 10 was stellar. I think he fought Roderick Strong. Pretty much every Rey Mysterio thing he also fought. Every match he's had feels like it's been pretty solid. And I feel like when I took a gamble with the character, because he wasn't doing anything in NXT, there was this dryness to the character, and right when I did the whole character of I'm going to bank on myself, I'm going to go up to the main roster, like fire me to Mr. Samuel, and Mr. Samuel, the GM of NXT, fires him. He goes up to the main roster, wins the Cruiserweight title, has held it for 51 episodes, and puts up some solid matches. Gargano was another good one. Ciampa and Gargano, I think there's a triple threat in there. There's a few solid matches, and they're all fairly recent with Johnny Rivers. I feel like he's coming to his own.
Right.
Over time, and I feel like there's so much more progression that can be made, but I'm not going past season 10, so
Of course.
as far as Scott Cole, take your pick, because there's I have to limit it to 3 with him. Okay. 3 matches that define Scott Cole. I want to say Mr. Samuel versus Scott Cole, Season 4, Episode 53, NXT TakeOver. The second... This is a tough pick because I don't remember the match exactly. As in, I know when the match happens and everything else. I just don't remember the quality of it.
Right.
Arlington versus Scott Cole Royal Rumble Season 6, Episode 45.
Golly.
Either that or that same season, and it's when you fought Armstrong. Earlier in the season. I think it was like season or episode 18 and 22 for those two matches.
Did have a pretty good match.
And then the third match that I would 100% say defines Scott Cole would be season 7, episode 55, WrestleMania against Harvey.
You know, actually, the man behind British Ambition, he's actually not a bad guy.
Yeah, I know.
I'd hang out with him sometimes, and it was weird because like at first he only knew me as the creator of Scott Cole, and Scott Cole hates Harvey, right? But dude, me and him got along so well. like it was unbelievable. It was a complete opposite contrast of what the characters are going through, but it was he actually helped me through a rough patch once when I was going through it with some guys in the competitive league. He had my back, and I would never forget that. Even though it was like at the end of the day, it was like a little kiddie stuff, because we were just teenagers being teenagers. But he didn't even have to. He didn't even know me that good to do what he did for me, but he did do it, and after that we got pretty close.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Right when you
that night we came we came to your party and told you what happened.
I think, yeah, that's right, because you guys did that. You joined, and then you told me, and I'm just sitting there thinking, what the heck just happened? Like, what is the story?
It's my favorite episode of XCW ever.
Right when you mentioned that he did something for you, I immediately clicked. I'm like, my jaw dropped, just quietly.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So you want to know the story?
I mean, I'm willing to listen to it. I mean, it's up to you if you wanna broadcast this story.
No. It's all squash. It's like a joke now.
Okay, all right, then you can tell it. I don't have a problem listening to it. My hands are clean. I had no involvement in this.
Of course. No blood on your hands, brother. We all right. So basically, in the XCW league, the competitive league I was in at the time, they wanted to fix a match. Basically, like it's all competitive. Like survival of the fittest. If you get pinned, you get pinned. You gotta win. You better get in there and do your thing in the mat. If you don't, I mean, take the L. But they wanted to fix a match between me and Assassin were the tag team champions. We had just beat Jeff Sanders and Raymond for the tag team titles, and they came like, oh yeah, we want a rematch, blah blah blah, and I'm like, all right, that's fine, we can do that. I assumed that they were gonna want a rematch anyway because they usually beat our butts. So, then they come and talk to the assassin. Assassin was the owner, with the storyline about how they beat us. We have to let them beat us, and it's gonna be fixed. Now I was pretty upset about it. So I was like, man, I don't even want to do this match because it's not genuine or true to what we've been doing thus far. But I didn't want to just not show up, So I'm talking to British Ambition about it, Harvey. Talking to him about it, and he's like, you know what? You don't have to join. You don't have to play that match. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, stream your game for me through this PlayStation party and I'll play for you. And I'm like, yo, nah. Because I know how you are. You're devious, bro. You're devious. I'm not gonna let you do that. He was like, well, do you want to do it? I'm like, no. He says, oh, well, okay. What other choice do you have? Like, you know what? It's fair. So, they invite me to the match, and I let him do his thing, and he absolutely trolls the entire time. Like, I don't think people understand how good Harvey is at WWE 2K. Like, he's just good. Like, you can't catch him ever. He's so slippery, and he can mess with you and make you so mad. So he goes, he goes, and he's just beating the crap out of these guys. Like I'm supposed to be letting them win because it's fixed, right? Harvey is beating the crap out of these guys so bad, and they're like texting my phone in the middle of the match, like, bro, what's going on? Like, why you're no selling and blah blah blah. And I'm not responding. I'm just enjoying the show. And it gets to the point they get so frustrated with Harvey. Keep in mind, disqualification is on, right? So no weapons. They get so upset with Harvey that my own tag team partners trying to beat me up, and then the guys on the opposite team get like a kendo stick in the chair, and they're chasing Harvey all around the freaking stadium, and they finally smack him, and we retain the titles because of disqualification. And it's live streamed, so it's not like they can undo what just happened. We retain the titles, so we retain the titles. That was their rematch. We had a rematch clause in that league. They got the rematch, still lost. So they get no rematch no more. They have to earn it. Dude, I felt so evil, but I loved it. So then we joined Mad Lauder's party because Mad Lauder likes to sit in PlayStation parties by himself for hours. And he does. And we told him everything, and Mad was just like so dumbfounded. Like, he was like, no, you guys didn't. Why would you do that? And our only explanation was because it was funny.
Yeah,
Basically.
I can attest that that was pretty much the energy that they gave back. I was like, okay. I mean, I was just like, wow, that's
Dude, like, imagine these guys were whooping my butt, like genuinely whooping my butt, like when I first started playing the 2K games competitively. And they never went easy on me, and to work my way up to like what I was able to do and actually compete with these guys on a 50-50 level, to tell me I have to let you win now? Yeah, no. Yeah, I was not okay with that.
yeah, I can see that. I mean, especially when there's supposed to be a competitive league. At least at the
Exactly.
time, like for me, the difference is I was straight up like this is how my series is. Like, you give me the character, we can pitch ideas and storylines, but at the end of the day, I'm making the decisions on who's winning and losing. I don't make
Right.
promises on championships unless we sit down and agree, hey, this is what's going to happen, this is the storyline. Case in point, I'm gonna hit you with a season. Season 5 of Universe Mode. A specific somebody wins the Raw Money in the Bank briefcase,
Okay.
and his name is Scott Cole,
I recall.
and he's part of Bullet Club.
I recall.
So we kind of go episode by episode by episode, and I never talk to you about when I'm cashing in, when this cash in's happening, when this is going to occur, what's going on. But episodes keep passing by, and eventually we get to a point where WrestleMania Season 5 is coming up. You're in the middle of a feud with Raymond Cruz, and it's all going to come to a head at WrestleMania.
Yep, that guy.
And the conversation turns into the episode of WrestleMania. I think it's the day of or the night before. I basically go to you and I say, listen, you're fighting Raymond Cruz. Here's the result. Or actually, no, I don't even tell you the result because you didn't want to know. I can't even remember. I think this is how it played out. No. I think, shoot, I might have this wrong. I don't think I told you what happens.
No, you didn't at all.
No, yep, that's correct. I didn't tell you at all. I just talked about the match. Hey, this is the match. This is going to be where it's at on the card. And I think we talked about Season 6, and that was pretty much it. Talked about other characters as well, what other matches you're excited for. Boom, 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 done. We go into WrestleMania, and the main event happens. Matt King versus Colt Lee. Best of 3, and if Matt King loses, he retires. Matt King wins, becomes world champion. And then Scott Cole comes out and cashes in and wins the world championship in the main event of WrestleMania. And then I have to listen to this man basically be like, what the heck? Why didn't you tell me? Wait a minute. You made me cash in? On you? Well, yeah.
That was. I still don't have words for it. Like that was the least thing I expected. There was so much going on at once in that episode, to where like you understand everything that's going on, but it's like it feels like everything is going so fast, and the next thing you know, I'm coming out, and then the second thing, I'm holding the belt, and then he's like, "Well, you guys have a good night." Blah blah blah. Video ends. I'm like, dude, you just got to end it like that. That's it. That was a good fucking episode. Excuse me.
No, you're good, dude. Zero cussed like a bunch of times. I think I counted it was 14, but that's besides the point. No, pretty much. If I remember, I think I spoke to 2 people about the cash in prior. So the conversation came up on who should win the Royal Rumble. You know me, I hated ever pushing my character toward the top spot, but a lot of people were really wanting Matt King to get a push.
Yeah.
So I was hesitant, but I gave myself the Royal Rumble win. And I was thinking to myself, gosh, I really don't need another world title reign. I've never had a long one. Actually, I had one that was 16 episodes, but I really don't need a long title reign. I don't need to become at the time, a 3-time world champion. But what if we flip it? So I think I talked to Panda, who made Class Par, and I talked to one other person, I think. And it was just getting their thoughts. Hey, this is what I want to do. I want to have my career get put on the line against Colt Lee. I'll win the championship, and then we'll have, hero triumphant over the villain. But then we'll have another villain totally cash in on me and get his first world title reign. And I remember them just basically being like, yeah, sounds good. Like, if that's what you... and I certainly know Panda wasn't a yes man. And I think it was Panda that I spoke to about it. I'm pretty sure they were just like, yeah, it's up to you. It's your show. If you think elevating that guy is worth it, then pull the trigger. So I certainly don't have any regrets about that show. That, to me, WrestleMania 5 was peak. That was hands down, I think, top to bottom. From a wrestling standpoint, from a storyline standpoint, hands down, season 5 was the strongest. I think season 7 was kind of up there. Season 8 was pretty good. Season 9 was really solid. I loved season 9 except for like 1 or 2 matches. But I think even though the views don't reflect it, season 5 was the peak. Felt like
Yeah,
it was.
it was in the nitty gritty in season 5.
Well, there was just so much star power. At the time, you had all the legends in the top spots. Harvey, myself, not Mr. Samuel, Class Par. Davis King was on a roll. Raymond Cruz was still big. Yuri Yamashita, Adrian Galerto. There's just all the older guys were in the top spots, and all the young guys were fresh. They were new. They were coming up. They were tearing it up. Kevin Draco, Blake Daniels was still fresh. Jamie. There was so much talent from characters and exotic ideas. Gosh, it was fun. It was fun. I just remember it being fun at the end of the day.
Yeah, dude, we literally just sit in the party, go to a private match on 2K and wrestle and just talk about like what we could do. And have the most entertaining wrestling matches you'd ever see in your life. Every time we would sit in the party and play 2K, dude, we have monumental matches. Monumental. To the point where I was like, dude, why don't I join you for one of your videos? We fight. I play a character, you play a character that you already got scheduled, and let's just have a great match with like mostly improv, but there were a few spots that we were looking out for, that we wanted to do, but mostly it was improv and still had amazing matches, even though the animation used to botch in the older 2K games. That made it even better because it made it look even more real when it did happen, because they just flop out of the air somehow, and the collision just insane. But we made it happen, dude. That was so fun. I'm so glad you let me convince you to do that.
Well, oh man. So I know you've kind of been off and on after a certain period of time. You kind of fell out of it. In terms of watching all the time. Mm-hmm. Have you done anything with the Scott Cole character since, or Johnny Rivers?
Dude, no. The last time I made Scott Cole for you, I can't remember which 2K that was, but was it 22? 22? 2K22, the last one I made for you?
Possibly. I mean, I didn't play on 22.
It was... I don't remember what was the last Scott Cole I made for you, but
2019.
The last Scott 2019. Yeah, after that, bro, I kind of really fell off of it. But if I was to get back into it, I'm pretty sure I have a good idea of what I would do with both characters, as far as a new aesthetic and bringing more personality to the characters. Even though I feel like Scott's pretty fleshed out, but I'm always looking to give him a new look. But Johnny, hey, I love Johnny so much, like creating that character, because it was like completely different from Scott Cole. Like with Scott Cole, I had more of a strict kind of aesthetic for him, because he was kind of mysterious, dark. but also like a powerhouse. Like you gotta show off the muscles. You gotta show off the muscles. But for Rivers, it was different because it's like he's more colorful. He's more. He's more athletic around the ropes, if that makes any sense. Like not taking anything from Scott Cole, but he's more loose since he's a lower weight. So I was like, okay, who would I want to who would I want this character to reflect? Because I had an idea for his aesthetic already. And I was like, you know what? This character kind of reminds me of John Morrison and Chris Jericho, like the older Chris Jericho with the ponytail, right? So I was like, okay, I'm gonna give him a John Morrison slash The Miz attitude. Like he's the one. He's going to be the one to make it to Hollywood. He's gonna have all these movies and cameras flashing around him. Like he's just gonna walk with a certain confidence that makes you believe that he's going to be somewhere huge, bigger than wrestling one day. Which, depending on the person, nothing's bigger than wrestling. But you know, ambitious wrestler, actor, whatever. And I loved it because it was different, and I was able to show a different creative side with Johnny, like from the patches on his entrance jacket to just having the most colorful trunks that you could possibly have in a wrestling game. I'm not going to lie, but it was fun. It was a breath of fresh air because when I went back to Scott Cole to make new outfits for him, I had so many new methods, so many different ideas for Scott's attires from being able to branch out to another character, Johnny Rivers. I don't even know where Rivers came from. I just went into the creation and just went crazy for a second and kind of just pooped him out, really. But I am proud that I was able to make a character that was completely different from the one that I had initially because I thought I hit a stump, a creative stump, but no, I just needed to do something different for a little bit, and lo and behold, we got the whole Scott Cole legacy and in universe mode, and Johnny Rivers still doing his thing, you know. But yeah, it was your universe has brought my creative side to new heights, dude. Like always, I wouldn't say always, but gathering information about the universe mode and what's going on and the possibilities. It was like I always have to kind of take an angle that would not be expected, but also also not too outlandish to where people are like, this doesn't make sense, you know. Um, it made me more calculated in my creativeness. I can definitely say that. Way more calculated and more observant to really all things, you know, from video games to real life to stories. Um, I write now sometimes. Um, it's it's helped me a lot, and even and I can only imagine what it's done for you, since it's your universe, you know, your channel, your ideas. You were doing that for a long time before I'd even met you, so I can only imagine like how much how broad your creativeness is to have been doing it for so long and still doing it, you know, and able to remember and keep stats and just keeping going, dog. Like it's really, really admirable and impressive.
I appreciate that. I mean, it hasn't translated into much success in my personal life, unfortunately, but um, I feel like it's helped me on a personal level in terms of dedication, hard work, ethics, dedication. Yeah, I already said that. That's crazy. And memorization. I feel like if you want to excel at something, you have to be a student of it and you have to study it and you have to
Right.
almost make it second nature in terms of knowledge. So
Right.
always do your homework when it comes to wrestling. Always do your homework when it comes to trying to retain information. And make sure that it's enjoyable for you. That's what I would probably say. I mean, I enjoyed what I did, so still do. And I enjoy doing these podcasts. That's why I'm doing them with you. That's why I brought you on here. But we have gone over time. But this is another case where I feel like a part 2 is in order eventually. We need to do a watch along of I think what we should do is we should invite you back and we should do like a watch along of those 3 matches or matches that you think we should watch. We'll turn the
Okay.
audio off. We'll just do a watch along on the DDT podcast, and we'll talk about the matches or just watch along somehow. We'll try and figure out a way to do it.
For sure. For sure.
But because we're over time, I do have a few more questions I want to ask you before I wrap it up. Number 1,
Okay.
what is the biggest piece of knowledge that you would pass along to anybody that's trying to get into the creator wrestling community or potentially just making characters, running their own universe mode, or just a character in general? What kind of knowledge would you want to pass along to them?
I would say don't make the character to be a reflection of you. Like don't make the character you. You know? Cuz if you make the character you, then even though nobody knows you better than yourself, you already know everything about yourself. So it's like not interesting for you. When you all right, the approach I took when taking my character is like I want to give them their own life. I want to give them their own attitude. Compared to Scott Cole or Johnny Rivers, there's a lot of characteristics that I built around those characters that are not me at all. Uh, I don't really like to. This is gonna sound so stupid. I really don't like to walk right into a confrontation. Like if a confrontation finds me and I have to protect myself, okay, so be it. But as far as creating, and this goes for Scott, as far as creating a conflict leading to confrontation, so not like me. I would just walk away. I got I got better things to do with my time than argue and fight with people. Um, and as far as Johnny, um, Johnny is very overly confident, flashy, and just thinks he's all that in a bag of chips. His poop don't stink. That's so not me. That's so not me. I tried my best to be humble and understanding and everything. So sprinkle a little bit of yourself into these characters, but not too much. Because everybody's had a dream about being a star, Johnny Rivers. Everybody has a dark side, Scott Cole. When you sprinkle a little bit of yourself in these characters, you have so much possibilities for their story because they're not you, but they're a little bit of you. So you can expand on that specific thing that you've based them around, rather than trying to put too much of yourself in a character and they come off kind of plain, you know, because all you want to do is see yourself win. You never want to lose. You never want to go through turmoil because everybody wants to be triumphant at the end of the day. So when you do a little bit, it does more for your creativity. It does more for your comfortability as far as a creator, and and patience, dude, and patience. Because you might have a storyline that you're like, oh, this is gonna be so sick, um, and you wrote it. You got backup plans for the backup plans, and you rush it, and it doesn't hit the audience like it was supposed to because you're impatient. As much as we hated like dreadfully watching a storyline to finally end with our favorite wrestler beating whoever was going against them, the painful wait, the anxious wait, I should say, for better words, um, is what kept us on the edge of our seats the whole time. Like, oh, what are they gonna do next? Oh snap! Triple H just ran up in Randy Orton's crib and just start smacking everything with a sledgehammer, and they haven't even fought yet. Like that type of stuff is what keeps us engaged. Um, to be able to expand on that wild side, you know. So yeah, don't make every character you that's boring.
I think there's a lot of truth to what you're saying. Don't make it a piece of yourself, but make it far enough away to where you can try different things and expand your own creativity, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well then, with that in mind, I got two more big questions. Do you have a Mount Rushmore for the creator wrestling?
Yes.
Okay. Well then, the floor is yours. What is your Mount Rushmore for the creator wrestler community?
Okay. All right. So I get five, right?
No, Mount Rushmore only has 4 people.
Fuck.
Try again. You can do an honorable mention if you're trying to, but your Mount Rushmore is who's your Washington, who's your Lincoln,
Mm.
Do you know the rest? Who's your Jefferson? No, I'm kidding. It's not. It's
I get it.
who's your Theodore Roosevelt?
All right.
Yeah. Who's your
So
who's your
look,
Teddy? Who's your
I'm not going to I'm not gonna put them in place with the presidents, but I will tell you my top four now.
Oh, okay.
So look, I'm gonna go with Jamie.
Ooh.
All right. I'm gonna go Colt Lee. Uh, Mrs. Samuels. And for number one, I'm going to put Matt King, the guy that put me over that one monumental night to get Scott Cole into what he is today, which is jacked powerhouse, unstoppable. Number five, honorable mention. I'm gonna do Harvey, man. I gotta give it to Harvey, dog. I gotta give it to Harvey.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. I mean,
Oh, I didn't mention Blake. I love Blake. I'll say that. I love Blake.
you've got a great list from Mr. Samuel to Cole Lee to Harvey to Blake, and I'm trying to remember the other one. Jamie. That's right. Yep. I mean, that's all a great cast. Yeah, I'm excluding myself. If you include me, I think I kind of watered down the list a little bit.
No.
Yeah.
No.
100%.
As much. You know why you hate Matt King so much?
I don't hate Matt King. I just don't like
You
praising
know
myself.
you be acting like it. You be acting like it all the time. You talk down on him all the time. Put some respect on that man's name. All right. That night where I cashed in, it was all your idea. It was your creativity. That match was. It still has me at a loss for words because I couldn't even answer the question earlier because I couldn't believe it. That was a great fucking match. That was a great storyline. Matt King has some amazing storylines.
True, but my goal, the Matt King character, is to try and elevate everyone else, not himself. Is kind of the key
Yeah,
goal.
yeah. And that made us love him more because we saw a lot of him, but we'd never get that fulfilling that he got what he deserved. You know?
Uh,
So that gave him kind of an underdog type of thing, but like a OG underdog. But everybody respected him because Matt King got hard, dog.
I mean, yes. You know what? I'll just let you have this.
Thank you.
You know what? Now that you're saying thank you like that, like this is somehow some sort of
No, no,
monumental
no,
victory.
no,
Now
no, no, no,
I'm
no,
gonna
no.
bonus pick with you. Now we have to argue this, and we have
You
to
can't
continue this
take it
podcast.
back. You can't take it
Dang
back.
it! You're lucky we're out of time and we're over time because I would 100% hash this out
No,
next
definitely.
time when we do the watch along.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm gonna debate you on it. Okay. Well, so if that's your Mount Rushmore in the creator wrestling community, who would you say is your Mount Rushmore in real life wrestling?
Oh, I thought you never asked. Okay.
Ooh, I mean, I was going to. I mean, I know you haven't watched the other episodes, but I ask this with
Shut up.
everyone. Okay. Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
look, number 4, the Boogeyman. Fucking love the Boogeyman. I've seen some of his indie stuff too. He still is good. Um, uh, dude, I'm not going to lie. Edge for number 3. Edge for number 3. Young Edge. Oh yeah, hell yeah, definitely. Then we got the Undertaker, dude. Undertaker for sure. And I'm putting him at number 2, debatably. But I had nightmares about that guy. All right. Like, keep in mind, I've been watching this since I was a little kid. I had nightmares about this dude. He at number 2. He traumatized me a little bit. Number 1, gotta give it to Stone Cold. Gotta give it to Stone Cold. I'm not gonna lie. Stone Cold got me amped up. I was walking around my house wearing undershirt and with root beer, thinking I was Stone Cold at 8 years old. Man, look, if somebody can get me amped up like that, and I don't know, I'm very chill, dude. I always been chill, even when I was a baby. But that guy had me turned. He's number 1. Honorable mention, John Cena. The man that started it all. For me.
I think that's a hell of a list. I feel like the Boogeyman is just that cool pick that's like, wow, I was not expecting that at all, but I'm 100% here
Dude,
for it.
the Boogeyman inspired a lot about Scott, dude.
That is true. I mean, there is a lot of parallels. I even thought about this upon reflection. Is the WrestleMania, real quick question, is the WrestleMania Season 5 attire an inspiration behind him?
You mean the one with the stuff on them? Yeah,
The
red
red,
stuff.
the red and the dots?
Yeah. I took that off of a creative card for the Boogeyman, and they had this actual face paint on that. So I took it off of that, and I put it on the mask for Scott.
Oh, that, wow. I thought that, but I never connected that was 100% the Boogeyman. I just figured,
Oh yeah.
wow, that looks familiar. Where have I seen that before? In the 5 years I have had that attire, that is great. I've officially learned something new today. I mean,
Yeah,
I learned
dude.
quite a bit today, but that is 100% guaranteed. I have learned something today.
Oh man, I love that attire. I felt like it was incomplete though. I felt like I could have did more.
Maybe like one or two pieces, but maybe. Either way, I'll. Where can everyone find you? As kind of the last question to you, where can people find you to support you?
You can find me on Twitch, Instagram, really anything with a social media platform. At Takomi, Takkomii. I do streaming. I be playing scary games. I play COD. Make YouTube videos sometimes. I haven't made a YouTube video in 4 years, but I'm getting back into it. I ain't got nothing else to do, so I'm making content again.
Well, either way, I want to thank you again for taking the time to do this. I know we were recording this pretty late at the time of recording, but thank you again. I'm looking forward to the DDT podcast episode that's specifically a watch along for the 3 matches of our choosing. But yeah, it's great to finally have you on here. It's great to talk to you again. It's great to hear from you. So cool to share some stories. Thank you again for coming on the podcast, doing this pretty spontaneously, and reconnecting and sharing a lot of your perspective and a lot of insight on your experience in Universe Mode and within the call community as well.
Oh yeah, no problem, man. I'm glad that I was a thought to be on here.
Oh, 100%. I have a list of guys who I was like, I need to ask. They need to be on here. I want them to be on here badly. You were one of the guys. It was just like, man, how do I haven't texted him in ages. Does he respond to his texts? So I'm glad we were able to connect and do this. But I'll wrap it up, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel, of course, if you choose. Go ahead and give this man a follow on all of his other platforms to support him. He's a great guy, lively personality. I know he's chill here now, but lively any other time. He's only this dull and boring with me. No, I'm kidding. Either way, thank you all so much for watching. Again, leave a like and subscribe to the channel, of course, if you choose. But most importantly, and as always, Pseudo Mad Army, feel free to check out the other 4 episodes of the DDT podcast as well. And feel free to put down a recommendation, or if you're interested in being on the show as well, feel free to let me know. I'd be more than happy to try and figure out a way to get people on this show. Thank you again, and as always, Mad Army, suit up, and we will see you next time on the DDT podcast.